Hello, hello. This is Vanessa here. Welcome to my day for Messy May. We are looking at Curiouser is the name of my lesson. So we're going to get curious about our material, maybe some things that we haven't used in a long time or that we bought or were gifted, in my case, but never used. So for me, that means this Yupo paper that someone gave me and I've never tried. So I thought, let's get curious about this. And I'm going to pair that with these alcohol, Adirondacks alcohol inks that I bought a long time ago, used maybe 3 or 4 times on paper, but never got a result that made me sort of curious about using them fully. So today's the day. So let's get curious about this material. This is a copper pigment. You might have seen this in the emergence class. It's a pigment that you can add to other mediums. So we're going to just be playing with all of this. I took out my spray bottle and, 6 or 7, I think 6 sheets of this Yupo paper will be enough. And we're just going to absolutely let our curiosity bring us somewhere. So one of the ways we can get curious is by getting out of our own way and just starting. So that's what I'm doing. I'm going with this color that is called Juniper, which I really like. So on the top part, you can see the 3 colors that I don't think I like, and I just set them aside and started with my favorites to see how that, sort of starts this whole process going. And I'm just like dropping this alcohol ink and seeing if it can make shapes. And I'm loving seeing it pool and spread on this paper. So the thing about Yupo paper is that it doesn't absorb, so it just lets everything pool and move on it, and you can get these really cool effects, almost like pouring medium. So I'm just going to keep letting my curiosity sort of speak to me, and you're going to see me go through 6 different types of sort of ways of approaching this material and seeing what emerges from it. So far, you've seen me using mostly my favorite colors, especially those reds. I mean, I love, love, love red. So those reds and pinks together look great. And so now I decided to get curious about why I don't like these colors that I've set aside and sort of play with them and see what happens. And to like experiment even further, I'm using this water spray bottle to see what happens when you spray water on top of this ink while using this paper. And you can see that it spreads things out a lot more. There's like droplets that are happening. So I'm using my palette knife to add a bit of this pigment, this copper pigment, to see what happens when I put that on the paper and in the alcohol ink, and see where that takes the whole process. On this piece of paper, I decided to do things differently and go vertically instead of going with the circles. And one thing I want to really impress upon you is that I am really going fast with this and I'm not overthinking it. So I'm really just letting the materials themselves guide what I'm doing. So it's quite intuitive, but it's also I'm not leaving space for myself to judge myself or to think of the outcome. And I'm just staying in this curiosity mindset and trying to see what is going to happen when you just play with the materials. So now to be even more curious, I am just going ahead and spraying the paper beforehand. And then I'm dropping in the alcohol inks. So I have to say that this was my least successful kind of experiment. The water ended up sort of pooling at weird places, and I didn't like the effect that it gave. I was going for like this abstract kind of landscape here, but I was able to sort of work with it and find parts of the page that I liked, but this was my, yeah, least successful. And probably a part of that is because I'm using my least favorite colors on it, at least for this part. So I got curious about what happens if you mop up some of the water with a paper towel, and then tried to see if I could rework the image there. But I'm also not very patient, so I didn't wait for it to dry. I think maybe if I had waited for it to dry, I could have reworked the colors that are on there. But yeah, that's not what I was doing. So I've let my papers dry, and I have six beautiful, well, some are more beautiful than others, sort of pages to work with. And so I'm going to show you how I'm going to incorporate one into my art journal. I'm just showing you like the different results that I got just by getting curious about my materials. I really like this like vertical one, this kind of like very abstract rainbow that ended up happening here. And then this is probably my favorite. So this is the one I'm going to work with for my art journal. What can we do with this kind of spread? You know, we can frame it, we can uh, alter it, and we can add it to an art journal page. So that's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to cut out the excess paper, and then we're going to sort of have it interact with something else. So I looked through my magazine stash and found this image that has colors that are sort of reminiscent of the ones that I used in her skirt. And I'm just going to cut her out. And we're going to be getting curious about how these two pieces can interact together. So I've cut out my image, and now I'm going to just take out that middle part of the Yupo paper that I did. Sorry, I just kind of knocked over my my tripod a little bit. And then we're just going to be, again, with keeping my theme of curiouser, I'm going to just try different ways that these two pieces can interact with each other and see how something sort of clicks when I've got the right sort of positioning, if you will, the right interaction between these two pieces. And then we're going to integrate them to my art journal. So there's a few different ways that this works. Sometimes I'm trying to see if I want the figure to be sitting on this kind of cloud of color, or do I want her to be like immersed in it. There's also the constraints of the size of the journal to think about. This is my Get Messy journal. And so I'm working on just the right side of the page because on the left side is the beautiful vellum piece page that I want to keep for another project. So this is the position that I've decided to keep. Something just clicked when I did it this way. So off camera, I put some glue and I assembled the pieces together. And now I'm going for the final element, which is adding the name of my prompt, which is Curiouser, to this spread. So I'm using a letter stencil and just like going haphazardly around the figure just to give that impression of things coming together and being assembled in ways that are different than what you might imagine in the first go. So to finish off my page, I used a neon yellow gel pen to add some sparkles and stars and sort of like sparkly bits to basically illustrate what happens when you follow the shining ball of inspiration and it takes you to somewhere unexpected and fun. And that to me is what happens when you actually embody or embrace the idea of curiouser and just like let your curiosity lead you somewhere else. Thanks for coming down the rabbit hole with me, and I can't wait to see your take on this prompt.